Welcome to the Hello Sunday podcast with me, Nikki Hayden. This is the podcast that discusses everything self-development, spirituality and sobriety. And it wouldn't be me without a little sprinkling of humour. Whether you are just starting out on your journey of self-development or have been exploring these topics for years, are completely alcohol-free or just curious about living a more sober lifestyle, this is the podcast for you. Each week, I'll be exploring topics in both solo episodes and with some amazing guest experts. So if you like what you hear, then please subscribe, rate and review. So with that said, let's dive into today's episode. Hello, welcome back to another episode of Hello Sunday. I hope you're all doing really well. Do you know, I say that every single week and it sometimes feels like it might just land as a bit of a throwaway comment, but I really do mean it. I feel super connected to my audience and my listeners at the moment, and yeah, I do really genuinely hope that you've all had a great week and that you are in a good place when you're listening to this and that things are going well for you. And if not, then you know, life's full of ups and downs, isn't it? And hopefully listening to podcasts like this will help you through those harder times and help you to just build tools and techniques and ways of getting through things. So what have I been up to this last week? Let's give a little bit of a life update, shall we? Not a huge amount. Nothing kind of major is happening at the moment. I'm really having to lean into trusting the process, which is what I was talking about a few weeks ago, isn't it? I asked at the beginning of this year, or more, I guess I didn't ask, I stated that building patience and learning how to surrender was something that I really wanted to do. It was something that I knew was incredibly important for manifestation and for building the life that I want to build, but it was something that I found really difficult. I'm quite a controlling manifester, so I like to know how things are going to happen and when things are going to happen, and we know that's just not how it works. So this year I've really had to trust the process, and that is with things that I don't know how they're going to come about and how they're going to manifest, things like business and finances and just stuff that I am trying to build on and trying to grow, but also with things that I am actively, I guess, more in control of, like my fitness journey. So it's been a real test of doing the things that I tell you guys to do and teach, but it's definitely giving me what I asked for, even if it's not all that comfortable at times. So yeah, it's been really interesting. And then over Easter weekend, we had really just 4 days of like life admin and getting the garden sorted for summer and walks. It was a completely sober bank holiday, which was really nice because it just meant that I got so much more done. So yeah, we've had a couple of weekends of really, really nice, chilled kind of productivity, life admin, all that sort of stuff, which I think sometimes is just so needed, isn't it? Especially before the real kind of nice weather, when we tend to have a lot more social plans. And then as you're listening to this today, my parents have come to visit, which is really nice. And we're going to a gorgeous restaurant in Leeds called 6 by Nico. If you've got one of those by you, then I think it's just a UK thing. But for anyone that's listening in the UK, I highly recommend going to visit one of those restaurants, 6 by Nico. It's a really cool concept, 6 different dishes and essentially like almost fine dining type vibes. And it changes the menu every 6 weeks. And it's like 40 quid a person if you don't have the wine flight. So really, really affordable. And the food is to die for. And they do a like vegetarian option as well if you don't eat meat. So yeah, really nice. So that's what we're doing today, and I'm just really excited to have some more social time and be out eating gorgeous food with people that I adore. So anyway, enough about me. Although saying that, a lot of this episode is going to be about personal experience and I guess just what I've kind of taught myself this year. I kind of already knew about this stuff, but I think it takes on a life of its own when you really live it and you really experience it. And so, yeah, I just really wanted to share this. I'm also recording this first thing in the morning and I haven't eaten yet. So if you hear my tummy rumbling, apologies. But I wanted to get this episode recorded because I was really fired up and had a lot of ideas going on in my head. And sometimes if you leave it and don't do it at the time, you kind of come back and think, oh, what was it that I wanted to say? And, you know, you can't articulate it as well. So we're going to run with it. I've not got many notes today. I've not got any quotes or science to back it up. It's just pure lived experience and just what I know to be true that I wanted to share. So today we're going to talk about building self-respect and a sense of self-worth by showing up for yourself. So self-respect and self-worth are so incredibly important and the absolute foundation of manifestation and being able to create the life that you want. We manifest other than from the action that we take. Well, actually, even then, arguably, it could be said that it's still built predominantly on our subconscious thoughts and our subconscious mind and the beliefs that we hold about ourselves. We can only manifest what we feel that we are worthy of. And self-worth can be built in lots and lots of different ways. But in essence, the respect that you have for yourself is so critical and so crucial for feeling worthy of the things that we're trying to manifest. So what do I mean by that? If you continually break promises to yourself, let yourself down, don't show up for yourself, don't do the things that you say that you will, you're not going to have that level of respect for yourself that when you're trying to then manifest your dream life or you're trying to manifest things that you don't know how they're going to come about because they're so big and so lofty that you're like, they almost scare you. You're not going to be able to do it because inside you will be feeling like, well, I don't deserve that. I'm not worthy of that because you've let yourself down and disrespected yourself so many times that you just can't cultivate that level of belief that allows you to break through to that next level. So if you had a partner, whether that be a romantic partner or a business partner, or if you had a friend who consistently didn't do what they said that they do, they were always late, they broke promises to you, in essence, they were just a really flaky person. You might still like them, you might still get on with them, they might still be fun, but would you trust them with your innermost secrets? Would you have the level of respect for them that you had for your friend who always showed up for you, always did what they said that they'd do, and you knew that you could just rely on? Maybe not all the time, nobody's 100% perfect, but the level of respect and the level of trust that you would give to the flaky person versus the person that was always there and always showed up and you could rely on would be very different. I've experienced this myself personally. I have got a friend that I met through work probably, oh my gosh, over 10 years ago now. And she is one of the most reliable, loyal, honest people. She always shows up for me. She's always got my back. And there is no doubt in my mind that if I called her at 3:00 in the morning, tomorrow morning, and said, I need you, that she would be there. She prioritizes her friendships, and for that reason, I trust her absolutely intrinsically. The level of respect that I have for her is a completely different level than for friends that I've had in the past. And note that I say in the past because generally speaking, I don't have those types of people in my life anymore. Maybe one or two, but on the whole, not. The level of respect and the depth of our friendship versus for the friends that I would class as like fun friends that maybe, you know, I know if we make plans, there's probably an 8 out of 10 chance that they're going to break the plans or change the plans or reschedule, is a completely different level. And it's no different for yourself. So if you are somebody who continually breaks promises to yourself, promises yourself that you'll create new habits or break bad habits, or that you'll start a new gym routine, or that you will change your job, or you'll go to bed earlier, whatever the thing might be, and then you just never do it. That is the same as having a friend that is flaky or constantly lets you down. In fact, it's probably worse, because showing up for yourself is the one thing that you can do. You can't control other people. You can't control the level of, I mean, you can put boundaries in place, and we'll come on to that shortly, that will either allow you to deal with this sort of treatment or not. But, you know, you can't control what other people do, but you can control how you respond to it. But you do have full control over your own actions. So subconsciously, if you are continually breaking promises and continually letting yourself down and not showing up for yourself, then when it comes to the things that you want and the things that you are trying to manifest, there's always going to be that thing in the back of your mind that says, yeah, but you're not worthy of that. Or, yeah, but can you really get that? Or, don't be stupid. That's not something that someone like you deserves. Whether you like it or not, we cannot manifest and we cannot create from a feeling of a lack of self-worth and a lack of self-respect. Now, notice that I'm not saying self-confidence, because you can have self-respect and still lack self-confidence. Self-confidence is something that you can almost fake and create a sense of that you've got with other people without actually having it. And self-confidence doesn't necessarily affect your ability to manifest or to create, because it's more of a conscious level. It's something that you project. Whereas self-respect and self-worth are things that you feel inwardly. They are how you feel about yourself at your core. And there's a ton of stuff that plays into this, you know, comparison and trying to get external validation and advocating for yourself and setting boundaries. These are all things that will play into your level of self-worth. But actually just building that self-respect by showing up for yourself is something that then has an effect on all of these things. If you're showing up for yourself, you're probably more likely to set healthy boundaries with other people, and you're probably more likely to stand up for yourself and advocate for yourself, because you respect yourself more. And those are then in turn things that you feel that you are worthy of. Whereas if you're not showing up for yourself in the first instance, that's like the bare minimum stuff that you need to be doing. And if you're not doing that, then the rest of it you can just kiss goodbye to. So this year, I've mentioned it many times before on previous episodes, but in case this is the first episode you're listening to, I signed up to 2 things at the start of this year. I signed up to a business coaching and accountability group, and I signed up to fitness, online fitness training. Both of those things have required me to show up daily for myself. They have required me to completely change my routine, completely change the level of activity that I'm doing, whether that is outward kind of like business planning and strategy, or whether it is business development, and be accountable for that, or whether it has been showing up and being consistent with gym workouts, with my nutrition and counting macros, or whether it's just been like daily steps and actually getting out of the house. But in every area, I've been accountable, and I have had to be consistent because I've got somebody to be accountable for, or I've got accountable to, or I've got a group to be accountable to. The difference that has made in how I have shown up for myself and how I have now set boundaries. And I mean, I was always somebody that was relatively good at setting boundaries, and well, not always, but you know, since I've been doing this work, I've learned how to do that more. But it's just had a knock-on effect, because when you're consistently showing up for yourself, and by showing up for yourself, I mean doing the things that you say you're going to do and committing to good habits and committing to good practices that are going to help future you, the more that you do that, and the more that I have done that this year, the more self-respect and self-worth has just built within me. And it really has, because you can't be showing up at the gym 3 times a week and hitting personal bests and hitting daily goals with your steps and activity. And don't get me wrong, it's not every day. There are days that I miss that. But you can't be consistently doing better and doing more and not feeling really fucking good about yourself. They just go hand in hand. And in turn, when you feel good about yourself and you feel like you are deserving because you are consistently showing up, it just radiates out in every single area of your life. So this could be really small stuff. I'm not saying you need to be overhauling your health and fitness routine. You know, you might be sat there listening thinking, Nikki, I've got 3 kids and a busy job. I can't be doing that sort of stuff. Or you might be feeling like this is just a huge step in terms of where you are now versus where you want to be. And I get that. I completely get that. It can be something really small. It can be as small as making sure that you're doing your proper skincare every night. You promise yourself, you buy all these nice products, and then a week down the line, it's slipped again. It could be as small as taking your supplements every night. Or it could be getting up 15 minutes earlier. You know, you consistently set your alarm and you don't get up when it goes off, and then you're left feeling shit about yourself because, again, you're then rushing around in the morning. It could be applying for another job or starting to look for jobs that are better suited for you because you're just not happy with what you're doing. It could be something as big as making changes in your relationship or even leaving a relationship. But whatever it is, whatever those things are that you consistently tell yourself you're going to do and consistently you're not doing, or you're doing for a short period of time and then slipping off, those are the things that you need to start picking up to build that self-respect. Now, yes, for me this year, it has been massive steps. It has been massive change, because I knew that that's what I needed to reach the goals. I knew that last year was like a ridiculously busy year for me with launching my business. But this year, I knew that to get to the next level of my goals, I needed accountability, that I needed to step change what I was doing and be supported by other people that are either doing it now or have done it already. Same with my fitness. I knew that I would do 2 or 3 weeks in the gym and it would slip off. And so having a fitness trainer has built that accountability into that area of my life. And now I'm consistently doing it. I know that as soon as I'm not working with him anymore, it's not going to be something that I'm going to let slip again, because I feel freaking incredible. And it's built that sense of self-respect for myself by just consistently showing up, not to mention the physical changes that I can see. So by just showing up in certain areas and just committing to making those changes, it allows yourself to build trust and confidence in yourself. You're no longer the flaky friend to yourself. You are the person that you can trust to do what you say you'll do. And you'll know yourself, like, there are things that you'll put on your to-do list for the week or goals at the beginning of the year. And before you've even started to attempt to do them or to hit them, you'll be sat there thinking, that's probably not going to happen. Like for me, it was the gym last year. I did the year before we got married, and I did like an amazing fitness regime for like 12 weeks. We went away, came back. And then last year it was like, oh, well, I've got to focus on the business. Or I had 2 periods where I was in Birmingham for a month at a time with my nan because she was sick. So there was always a reason and an excuse as to why I couldn't do it. And so this year I was like, I just need to get my shit together. But last year I didn't have I had self-respect for myself in that I had made the business work, but there were still areas where I was like, I knew that as the minute I put gym 3 times a week on my weekly goals list or my week plan, it probably wasn't going to happen because I hadn't got the incentive to do it and I hadn't put the processes in place to allow myself to do that. And then when I wasn't doing that, when I was slipping or, it just wasn't getting done, the emotions that I felt, the lack of self-worth and the lack of self-respect and the judgment that I felt for myself then, like, oh, you didn't do that, did you? Knew you wouldn't. They are such low vibe emotions. Every single emotion has a vibration. Every single thing on planet Earth has a vibration. You can actually measure it, and they've actually measured the vibration of really, high emotions like happiness and joy and I guess kind of self-acceptance, that sort of stuff. But things like fear, judgment, grief, they're really low vibration emotions. So when you're judging yourself and you're feeling shit about yourself, you cannot attract the things that are on that high vibe. You just can't. You cannot attract into your life good things because it's just not a match. It's just not a vibrational match. And so actually, not only are you denting your self-respect, but in turn, you're creating judgment for yourself and negative emotions towards yourself, which are then blocking you from attracting things that you want into your life. They're blocking your manifestations. And this also really comes into play with, I see it a huge amount actually, with drinking alcohol. And I did it myself. I mean, I've been there so many times, I don't care to count, that I would consistently say to myself, oh, I'll go out and I'll just have one drink or I'll just have 2 drinks. And by the second drink, I was already pressed that fuck it button. I was already in the space in my head that was like, oh, it's absolutely fine. And then that would snowball and I'd have more drinks and then the night would get later and later and I'd wake up the next morning and I'd feel not only like, oh God, I don't really remember what happened, but it would be, fuck's sake, why did I let that happen? Or maybe I'd have like lost something or ripped my jacket or, there was just things that would have happened in that time period because of that decision that I'd made that would snowball into me feeling like shit about myself or at least disappointment in myself, which again, super, super low vibe emotion. For those of you that are regular listeners to the show, or maybe you know me personally, you won't have been able to get away without hearing me talk about Simprove. Simprove is a scientifically backed, water-based probiotic drink. You drink it daily and it has been scientifically proven to help with things like bloating, IBS symptoms, pain. It was actually a dietitian friend of mine that introduced it to me last year and I honestly wouldn't be without it now. It's helped with my energy, with my bloating, it's helped with my immune system and also things like my skin. The list is honestly endless. Now I have got a code for you. So if you'd like to try Simprove, you can get 50%, that's a massive 50% off your first 3-month subscription by going on to simprove.com and putting in the code Nikki50. That's NIKKI50 or clicking the link in the show notes. When it comes to alcohol, it's not your fault. There is something that actually changes your decision-making process in your brain once you've had alcohol, regardless of how much. It could be 1 drink, it could be 5 drinks, but the more you have, the less likely you are to make good decisions. So sober you will make all the best decisions for your goals, for what you want to achieve, for your future self. And then the minute that you introduce alcohol into that scenario, that's when the decision-making ability basically goes out the window. And it's science. It's not that you are a shit person. It's just that alcohol changes us. Alcohol literally changes us at a cellular level. We cannot make the same decisions that we would make sober. So when I quit drinking at the beginning of last year and did those 100 days straight off, you want to bet that my fucking self-respect went through the window. I wasn't making bad decisions with regard to alcohol, which in turn wasn't making me lose stuff. I wasn't getting a lack of sleep. I wasn't ruining plans the next day. I wasn't potentially being a little bit disrespectful and argumentative towards my husband. There were so many elements that played into that and that changed as a result of me just choosing not to drink, that it built such a great amount of self-respect. And not to mention the fact that I'd stuck to something for 100 days that I'd never ever stuck to before in my life. That sense of self-respect and self-worth went through the window. So then when it came to my business, yes, I was more productive because I was clear-headed and I'd got more time and space, and I wasn't feeling like a bit like tired and sluggish on a Monday. But I was also feeling so good about myself, and that energy was radiating out, that I was attracting the things into my circle and into my life that I wanted. You know, the achievement, the hitting the goals, the clients, and that just then created a knock-on effect for every other area in the rest of the year. So the low vibration emotions that we feel when we do drink can be, you know, the anxiety, the not wanting to look at your bank account, the not wanting to look at your text messages, that feeling of like, oh, something happened and I don't know what it was. They are super low vibrational, and they're really, really not good and healthy emotions. The judgment, the disappointment, it all goes hand in hand. And unlike just not showing up for yourself to go to the gym or not getting up early, the drinking, like I say, actually changes your decision-making ability. So when you choose not to go to the gym, or you choose not to get up early, that's one decision that you've made to not show up for yourself. But when you choose to drink, there's so many other decisions that you make then that you might not even be aware of, because, you know, blackout is real. That can then impact other areas of your life. So then, you know, having the drink might lead to you not doing the workout the next day. It might lead to you letting your friend down. It might lead to you arguing with friends or family. There's so many elements that it plays into, that it's why most people choose to have a period of like being alcohol free or cutting back if they're not dependent, because it's just all of the other areas that it impacts so much. And then it's only by making that decision to cut back or stop that you really fucking realize, like, it's honestly crazy the amount that it changes your respect and your self-worth. So what I think would be a really, really good exercise and activity to do following up from this, and actually this is a really good point, because I'm going to do a whole episode on this, I think, because it's something I was talking to someone about the other day. It's all very well listening to these episodes and thinking, yeah, that makes sense, or, oh my gosh, yeah, I really relate to that. But actually, if you're not doing anything about it, just having the knowledge is like one level. There's no knock-on effects to your life. There's no way that things change unless you're actually doing the work, unless you're actually doing something with it. So the values episode that I did the other week was actually like questions that you needed to ask yourself. So if you've listened to that and not done those questions, then please do go away and do it. But the actual work that you need to do on this is really just making small changes and showing up. But there's no point in listening to this and thinking, yeah, I need to do that, and not doing anything about it, because you might as well have not listened to it. The exercise or the task that I think would be really good to just start getting you to play around with this and feeling the effects of, you know, building that self-respect and building that self-worth is pick 3 areas of your life where you know that you don't show up for yourself. Now, I wouldn't make it 3 massive changes. I wouldn't make it like, oh, I want to go to the gym 3 times a week. I want to start a business, and I want to, I don't know, start a new skincare routine, because the likelihood of you doing all of those 3 things within the next 7 days is really small. And then it just completely defeats the purpose of this exercise. But pick 3 areas. That could be just going to bed a bit earlier or getting up earlier. It could be maybe prioritizing no phone time when you're with your kids. So having, an hour or an hour and a half after school or nursery or before to just not have phone time because you're wanting to focus on them and have quality time. It could be drinking more water. It could be a skincare routine. But pick 3 things that you want to focus on. And even if you just do one of them to start with, do them consecutively for 7 days and make sure that you are genuinely making the effort every day and you're not allowing yourself to not show up for yourself. So if it's a daily walk, make sure that you're picking a time that you can do it. Don't put it in the middle of the day if you know that the middle of the day is your busiest time with work, or don't put it before work if you know that you've got a super busy morning or you're not a morning person and you're not going to fit it in. Try and make this as easy for yourself as you can. I do things like habit stacking. So I'll put my nail oil with my supplements next to my bed. And then I know when I reach for my supplements at night that I'm going to do my nail oil. Same with my LED face mask. I do that 4 or 5 times a week. It's next to my bed. I just pick it up out of habit now. So try and create small habits and ways of showing up for yourself that you know are going to be relatively simple to put into your life, and maybe make one of them a little bit bigger, but don't pick 3 massive things that you're going to struggle to do all at once, because we can only deal with so much change and you're going to fuck it all off otherwise. So that is the little task or exercise that I'd like you to do. And honestly, the amount of difference that just building that level of respect and trust in yourself, if you can trust yourself to do the things that you say that you'll do, it builds a confidence and a sense of self-worth that when you are then coming to manifest bigger things and create, desires and goals lists, it's that sense of, yes, I'm worthy of this. Because if you're showing up for yourself, why shouldn't other things and other people be showing up for you? And I did say at the start of this that we were going to come on to boundaries. Now, I don't want to make this episode about boundaries because I did do an episode, which I think is episode 6, which I'll link in the show notes, all about boundaries. But boundary setting and showing up for yourself and advocating for yourself is also a massive thing when it comes to building your self-worth and gaining that sense of self that is going to allow you to manifest from. And the boundary setting piece is not easy for everybody. And I think that it's kind of a little easier to do once you've done the stuff that I've just mentioned, once you've done that exercise and started to build on actually just showing up for yourself and doing the things that you say that you will. Because when you start doing that, you have more respect for yourself to feel worthy of actually having a voice and advocating and standing up for things and putting those boundaries in place. Someone who has no self-respect, we all know people that we could probably name off the top of our head are so little self-respect and value themselves so little that they will roll over and say yes to everything, and they probably get taken advantage of and walked over quite a lot because they don't have that level of respect for themselves to put in place strong boundaries and speak up. You don't want to be one of those people, because if you're one of those people, then why are your goals and dreams going to show up for you if you're not showing up for yourself? Like, it's just, it's basic really, but it isn't basic and easy to do. So you need to do it incrementally. You need to start putting in place small boundaries and speaking up for yourself in small ways. So I don't know, a way of doing this that you can immediately implement could be maybe just, if a friend's asking you to do something on a certain day and it's not ideal for you, rather than shifting things around to make it work, unless it's, a friend that really needs you, is just saying, actually, that doesn't work for me. Could we maybe look at X, Y, and Z and give some alternatives? Or, similarly with work, if something's not quite working for you, I, for instance, have quite a lot of candidates that will message me and say, oh, can we talk about my job search? And I'm always like, yeah, sure. And I was trying to fit them in the next couple of days. And I was speaking to a friend and colleague about this the other day, well, a peer, and she was like, look, they don't expect that. If you're really busy this week, put them in for like a week or two's time. Like, it's absolutely fine. So that's what I've started doing, you know, unless it's an immediate desperate need now, I've started making it work for both of us rather than just trying to fit them in to, you know, suit their needs. And it's working really well. Or maybe if your partner or your husband, wife, boyfriend, girlfriend is wanting to go somewhere or do something and it's not really something that you want to do, maybe suggesting something that works for both of you. Or if they're wanting to watch something, it's just looking at the ways that you can implement this in really small ways before you really level up and start putting, you know, much firmer boundaries in place. Because if it's not something you're comfortable doing, then it's going to be really tricky. But go and listen back to that episode on setting boundaries and make sure that you're doing the self-respect work and make sure that you're showing up for yourself and you are doing the things that you say that you will do. And in turn, I promise you that will come. You will not allow yourself to get walked over or taken advantage of or to bend too much to what other people need and want when you've built that level of self-respect. And also, you will find yourself attracting more of the things that you want into your life because you are just radiating that positivity and that those emotions, those high vibe emotions, like respect and like self-worth, because you are so used to showing up for yourself and you've got that inner trust and confidence. So I hope that that's been useful today. I hope that you will take something from that. And, you know, if you are somebody that tends to show up for yourself anyway, there will be areas of your life, I've no doubt about it, that do slip down the list. Of course there will. We're human. But if you can focus on those areas and just one by one look at, you know, how can I make sure that this isn't slipping? How can I do small things? Maybe you're wanting to get fitter, but you just don't feel like you've got time or space to go to the gym. Maybe just start getting your daily steps in, or drinking more water, or having a bit of a healthier diet, incorporating more fruit and veg. Those tiny little shifts and changes will snowball into bigger habits, and before you know it, you'll be doing the bigger things. You really will. So let me know if this has been of use. Let me know the things that you're implementing, the ways that you are going to show up for yourself, and I will see you all again next Sunday. Thanks for listening. You can find us on Instagram at HelloSundayPod, or you can email us on hellosundaypod@outlook.com. Have a great week.